Bill Burns, based on the first 40 minutes of this show, how does that, or if any way, affect your thinking?
Well, what we found was that there was an object. We can't say where it came from. We can't say what it was. We did some very intriguing triangulation experiments that Ted can explain that showed that the witnesses who said they were seeing something actually did see something in the place they said they saw it. So okay. We know that.
Ted, can you explain it without being too technical?
I'll try, Larry. Well, we went down there, and first of all, we found out that there had been basically a rash of sightings starting as early as November and went well through January into February. And statistically, first of all, there was about a 10x increase in the number of reportings, the number of sightings that were reported, which gave us, that was a hunch that something was going on down there. So what we did is, with our friends at MUFON, who collect all these reports, is we filtered the long lists, and we found right away that January 8th was sort of the hottest night of the whole 3 to 4 month period. And we then filtered the list again and tried to identify at least 3 or 4 people who had described the same object, the same shape and color, around the same time, around the same date, and around geographically the same position.
And what did you conclude?
Well, we found the 4, and then we went and interviewed them, Pat and I and Bill, and I got quantitative measurements of exactly what they had seen in what direction. And I took that all back to the lab, and if you took 4 random guesses, they'd probably all aim in different directions. In this case, lo and behold, all 4 reports quantitatively aimed the same position, about 1,500 feet to about 2 to 3 miles east of town, 1,500 feet of elevation, which tells me that conclusively something was there that night. Now,
okay.
Of course, I'd love to be able to tell you. Yeah.
What? Ted Holt, of course, we're going to get Pat Eskert was there, and we want his thoughts as well. We'll also take your calls. Don't go away.
I picked up a ship-to-shore transmission. The gentleman on the transmission said, quote, "That's right, Bob. I don't know what the hell it is. It's about 200 yards off my bow, and it's starting to tilt." And he started to go on to explain exactly what it was that I was seeing. And that's all I needed to freak out, and I did.
Okay, Pat Eskert, you went to Phoenix. You went to Stephenville. What'd you find out? What did you conclude?
Well, I had a chance to talk to multiple eyewitnesses of this event on January 8th. And this is one of the best forms of evidence there is. Multiple eyewitnesses who don't even know each other telling the same story. And what we were able to conclude is that all these people did indeed see something strange.
So that makes it impossible to discount. Different people, different locations seeing the same thing. How do you discount?
Exactly. And Ted actually performed some science. We took the compass directions of all their readings, and we put it all together. We triangulated, and they were all looking at the exact same location at the exact same time. So clearly there was one object that they saw.
Let's take a call. Phoenix, Arizona. Hello.
Hi, I was wondering if any of the gentlemen ever found an alien artifact, and if they're familiar with the website lockdownmyid.com.
Bill Burns?
I know the website, and to answer your question, not to be coy, but we did examine some alien artifacts. They are in the lab. They're being tested. We will know the results soon.
You know they're alien, though?
The people who have them claim they're alien. That they could turn out to be conventional objects, but we'll find out.
We have an email question from Jack in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. With all the digital cameras and camcorders out there, why hasn't someone taken a clear picture of one of these UFOs? It seems all the images we see are blurry at best. Ted?
That's a great question. It turns out that if you consider the lighting conditions of a typical night UFO sighting, it's basically a faint point source of light way off in the distance with a very black background. And your typical cell phone camera or consumer-grade still or video camera just is not designed to take good quality pictures in those conditions. Even a professional-grade camera would have a hard time. And because of that's the reason we're just not getting a lot of good footage.
Okay, we have another email question from Karen in Burleson, Texas. Does the government ultimately control what information is released to the public through media outlets and shows like UFO Hunters? Pat?
Actually, that sounds like a Bill question.
Okay,
if that's
Bill.
possible.
Well, the answer is a very qualified and very passive yes. The CIA has been involved in manipulating information in the media ever since the late 1940s, when the first strange objects crashed in Roswell. They have done this, and they've admitted it. They've been very happy about admitting it. They basically force stories into the tabloid media. They give stories to science fiction writers, and in so doing, they marginalize what are really intriguing stories and true stories about UFO, so as to make the people who talk about them seem odd, strange eggs off the planet.
Orlando, Florida, hello.
Yes, fascinating subject. I have a question. Is it possible aliens are traveling from the future back into our time zone? And if they're advanced enough for time travel, how could UFO hunters chase or track them?
Pat?
No, that's a very good question, and I'm afraid I don't have the answer.
Does anyone have a thought? Bill, Ted?
Well, I do, and the thought is simply this. There is a theory, and a person in the Navy who investigated the Philadelphia experiment actually explained that the military does believe that aliens are actually us from our future, and this is his theory. This is not a fact, it's theory, that it's us from our future, and they are manipulating the timeline so that we don't make critical mistakes, catastrophic mistakes. True, not true, I have no evidence.
Based on that statement? Look, Ma, there I am. Up there, I'm coming. We'll be right back with more after this. Another email for our panel from Mickey in Denton, Texas. Do you think people are truly ready to face the implications of extraterrestrial intelligence? How do you think the public would react if presented with absolute proof of it? Bill?
I don't think they're ready. I think there would be shock, but I think eventually we'd accept it. I think that there is a gradual disclosure going on. I think through science fiction movies, I think through a number of outlets, there is disclosure going on, and I think that is preparing us for what we will eventually come to see as we have people out there that are extraterrestrials, and they're here.
Ted, what do you think? How do you think people would react?
Well, you know, I think I can only base that on the people I've met in the research we've done for the show. And it's just amazing how many people we've come across in our interviews and our case studies who I get to talk to who feel like they've either seen something themselves or a close family member has. It's astonished me at just how prevalent this is in not just American society, but we're over in England, over there as well, and worldwide. So it seems like people, a lot of people think about it, a lot of people believe they may have seen something, and I disagree with Bill. I think people would be ready to hear the truth,
Pat?
Whatever that truth is.
It sounds to me like people are ready. They've had these UFO experiences. They're not having any kind of meltdown. They're able to discuss these experiences with us, and it seems like we're an intelligent species enough to fathom that we are not alone, and I think we can handle it.
So no panic would have result.
Well, I've talked to a lot of people about it, with people who've studied this much longer than I have, and there are theories that people would panic. This would adversely affect the economy. That there would be mayhem in the streets. But I don't know. From the people we're meeting and talking to, people are okay with it.
Bill, we have a short time left. Do you think most people believe there is life elsewhere?
Yes, they do. In fact, I think that in CNN's own poll, 85% of those who responded said that they did believe there was life elsewhere. Whether that life is now here is another story, but they did believe that. I think our government believes that. I think Seth Shostak believes that with SETI. So I think that anybody you speak to would be very arrogant to say there is no other life in the universe. The question is, has that life come here? We believe it has.
Thank you all very much. From the UFO Hunters and UFO Magazine and the History Channel, Bill Burns, Ted Eckworth, Pat Buskert.